but one that maybe somebody would be shocked to find out. I think and believe that I can cook chicken in more than 100 ways.
Really?
Yes, I actually think I can pull it off. More than 100 recipes of chicken. My name is Chitongwa Banda, and I serve as the Executive Director of BeRelevant Afrika. And this is a youth-led organization committed to raising a generation of leaders who understand that there are solutions to the problems that we currently have. I'm a leadership trainer, an author, and I'm passionate about personal development. My work focuses on equipping young people with the leadership, financial, and personal development skills, because I believe that these are key components in order for us to be relevant in an ever-changing world that we are currently living in. Yes. So BeRelevant Afrika was founded from the realization that we have so many problems around us. So you can even hear it in the name, Be Relevant, because all of us must be relevant in our own right in order for us to change the situations and solve the problems that are around us. Yes. BeRelevant is founded by a good friend of mine. His name is Mwila Wanga. Okay. So he's the founder, and he founded this organization in 2018. And we were just students with the idea of what can we do in order for us to look at the problems that we have, and then recognize the problems that we have, and from that, what we can then do about those problems.
Okay. Mr. Banda, yes. So what leadership qualities should really young people develop to remain relevant and impactful out there to the society?
So, number one, when it comes to qualities, you agree with me that integrity is key. If I want a person of integrity, I want to trust you. So, the first and fundamental leadership quality that each young person must have is integrity. Can people trust you? Can I trust you, Mr. Chilufio? Because based on the answer to that question, it will determine how far you and I will then be able to go in our leadership journey. So, are you trustworthy as a young person? That's number one. Number two, do you have a vision, right? Because you as a leader, you must be able to see possibilities before others do. So a vision is where you're headed to. It doesn't yet happen, right? But you've got a roadmap that this is where you want to get to.
So in a case where a youth doesn't have a vision, how then can one really get to have something?
How could one get to a space where they have a vision? Yeah. So what do you find interesting, right? What is it that you love to do that will then be able to help others? So you must love it, but it's for the benefit of others. And then how large scale can that be, right? Because the vision must be, I'm at this level where I'm at 1, but I'm looking at 96, I'm looking at 116. I'm looking at something that's not yet feasible, but I can work towards it. So what do you find interesting? What do you find joy in to do? And then from that point onward, it becomes for the benefit, not only for you, but for the benefit of others as well. So can we start the conversation around what do you love to do? For example, you, Mr. Chief, you are in media and communication. Yeah. That's what you love to do. Yes, so what is your long-term plan about this which you love to do? That's your vision, sir.
Okay, great. So we have a lot of students let's say they debate either them setting up something right now at school, or perhaps they should wait for them to finish with the academic. So what step did you take?
Okay. So I will start with my advice, right? Leadership doesn't begin after graduation. Okay. I'll say that again. Leadership doesn't begin after graduation. So students can start by saving at this capacity, whether it's in your student organizations, whether it's volunteering, whether it's communities, whether it's participating, you mentioned debates, whether it's participating in debates, joining clubs, class projects, whatever it is, can you solve a problem around you at that level as a student? Because sometimes we're fixated on thinking that leadership is not about titles. You don't have to be the dean. You don't have to be the vice chancellor in order for you to exert your leadership skills. But leadership is about influence and taking responsibility. So at first year, what can you take responsibility of? And when you take responsibility of that, you do it well. And then you asked also for my personal, you'd be amazed to understand that from grade 7 to 8 to 9, and then high school as well, 10, 11, 12, I served as the class representative. And you'll be amazed to know again that when I went to the University of Lusaka, I served as class representative from first year all the way to fourth year. 4 years plus my lower learning stages. So I was being prepared, right, at that particular level for the positions that I currently hold today. So start where you are.
Mr. Banda, so in a case where this is a youth out there,
yes,
it doesn't have really the goals and plans to say that it can be someone, how can they really get to understand that I'm of relevant to the society?
To the society. Okay. And this is maybe a point where we must sit down as a country, not just as the University of Zambia, but as a country, and look at our curriculums, look at our school structures, and see what else can we do in order not to only give the students an education per se, but also allow platforms where they can rediscover or discover who they are, right? So you, sir, you have an important job. Through this conversation that we're having today, somebody will listen to you and they'll be able to pick something about what drives them and what they should be driven towards. What is my point? Each one of us with any level of influence must make sure that those that do not understand who they are, they start to begin to understand what they can actually be. So none of us would have ever thought to be what we are today if we didn't first envision it, right? Did we see somebody out there doing it? Or did we hear that this is possible? And then we then decided and thought that, you know what, even for me, it is possible.
All right, so Mr. Banda, so looking at the fact that you've been into leadership, so obviously you've observed some of the challenges that young leaders are facing. What are some of them that you can highlight to us?
Okay, so one of the biggest challenges we have been able to identify, of course, getting first-hand information from the young people themselves, is lack of access to opportunities.
Okay.
Right? They'll speak about, I can do this, but I don't have the platform. I don't have people complain that there are no jobs out there. Some of them will complain and say there's limited mentorship out there, right? Beyond that, you also have self-doubt, where some of them don't actually realize that it's possible for them to achieve what they would like to achieve. But to just go back and highlight another challenge here, is that in as much as young people complain about access to opportunities, how many of them are actually ready for those opportunities? So it's like we want to be given platforms and opportunities where we're not actually able to serve and add value. So these are some of the challenges that we have.
Okay, so talking of BeRelevant Afrika,
Yes.
so what kind of platforms are you providing for them, for the youth?
Okay. So remember, our whole idea at BeRelevant is to help young leaders realize and understand that the problems that are around them, we mustn't wait for somebody to come and solve those problems for us. We ourselves must be able to do something in order for us to change the situation. So for example, if there are no jobs right now in Zambia, nobody's hiring, what must I do as a young leader? I can choose to sit down and complain that there are no jobs in Zambia. Or I can go look for work somewhere. And maybe that work I may get at this particular point may not be exactly what suits me. But there's something I can do about the situation. So the problems that are around us, what can you do about the problem? And the funny thing about solutions is that it's rare that you find one solution. So I find that there's actually a countless number of solutions that they can be applied. So when we teach 6-week training, that equips young people with life and practical skills that help them become relevant in society. Today we're speaking about AI and how it's advancing and doing all these things. And we as young people must be able to use AI in order for us to solve the... Young people are able to join our Leadership Academy. Currently, we are taking applications for the 12th cohort. Okay? And then other than that, we have the BeRelevant Youth Summit, which convenes every year in this country, right? So what these opportunities do is that they help us then pick from our alumni those that can volunteer, okay, in other organizations that we work with, those that can participate in our community initiatives, and those that actually become part of our growing network of young leaders. So you then have platforms. Remember the access to opportunities. We then create those access. We then create those opportunities where now these young leaders can be able to thrive. And the message is start where you are, use what you have, and keep on growing.
Okay, so does it have an age limit?
So currently we start off at 18 to 34, 35, depending on what you define as a youth. Yes.
Okay, let's say, how can students really begin their leadership journey while at school?
Okay, so I did mention that at that particular point where you're at as a student, whether it's first year, second year, third year, or fourth year, what can you do? Number one, can you identify a problem, right? And from your identification of the problem, what can you then do about that problem to provide a solution? Because remember, the future is not something that happens to us. It is something that we build. So what can you do right now? It's the famous example of financial management, right? Management of money doesn't happen because you have a lot of money. It happens with what you currently have. What then can you do with those resources? So as a young leader starting off in their first year, what problems have you identified in your institution, in your room where you're coming at, in your friendships, in all the areas that are important to you? And what then can you do in order for you to cause a positive change? So relevance is, this is in its position. Can I put it in a better position? Because now I am here. And the more you do that, the more you develop in your leadership abilities.
Okay, Mr. Banda, you mentioned of self-doubt when
Yes.
you're talking about the challenge. How does one deal with the self-doubt?
Self-doubt.
Yeah.
have you had self-doubt before yourself? Okay, so self-doubt is really just one feeling and thinking that they are not able to do something. And that's why one of the biggest advice I give to young people is truly and honestly to get exposure. And you may ask me what exposure is. Exposure is if you get a book and you read something you've never heard before, that is exposure. If you sit down with me, who's gone ahead and have done some things that you think you would also want to do, that is exposure. Okay? And for others, it's leaving the country and doing all those things. But can we focus on you being able to acquire new information? So for example, most of us have never been to Europe. But if today somebody shows you the Eiffel Tower, you'll be able to point at it and say, that's the Eiffel Tower. Why? Because you've been exposed to the Eiffel Tower. So, like I keep on saying, you and I have a lot to do. Why? Through the things that we know and the platforms that we currently have, we can then disseminate information that help other people who are doubters. Unfortunately, if you have self-doubt and you are locked up in a space where you're not exposing yourself to new information, you will continue being in that position. So if you're struggling with self-doubt, expose yourself to new information that will then allow you to look at the situation that you're in differently and begin to do something about it.
All right. So I also, when you are mentioning about the steps or maybe where to start from, you also highlighted on the aspect of financial literacy.
Yes, please.
So then I would like to find out why is financial literacy so important, straight to the students here at the University of Zambia, not only here at UNZA but also to the students out there.
Okay. So financial literacy is very important because leadership and money go together. Leadership and money go together. So it doesn't really matter where you're at. First year, second year, third year, like I keep on mentioning, you're handling money at each particular point. So you as a leader, if you cannot manage your money struggles, it becomes very difficult to sustain your vision. So financial literacy teaches me and you, right, how to earn money. It teaches us how to budget. It teaches us how to save, invest, and even manage debt responsibly. And then the long vision of it all is that you and I must be able to build wealth over time and have financial freedom, right? Yeah. So it gives people the freedom to make better decisions and create opportunities that also help us serve others more. So if you have money right now, how well are you managing that money? Because remember, money is a scarce resource, right? It's not in plentiful supply. It's not like you go outside and you pluck it out like mango in mango season. This is an important resource. So much so, I could even argue, sir, that you're probably studying journalism because you heard that journalists get good money out of it. So if it's such an important resource, which also helps people choose what fields to get into, mustn't we learn how to manage it well? So that when people get paid, when people have their allowances, when people get their monies, whether it's a gift or whatever it is there a better way of managing it? Because if you do not manage it, what time do you have to go and inspire others for them to become better, or in order for you to solve the problem? Because the only problem you end up having is that of your money struggles. And before you know it, that's the only thing that you do in your entire life. So financial literacy is important because it handles an important resource. Some people say money makes the world go round, right?
True.
So if this resource makes the world go round, shouldn't you learn how to manage it?
I have to.
So that's the importance of financial literacy.
Okay, Mr. Banda. So in the aspect of choosing a course, you mentioned me choosing journalism.
Yes.
So should I choose this course based on the financial support, or maybe the benefit of it, or maybe because I love it?
Okay.
Because we have different students who are pursuing a certain program, then maybe they're doing it because their parent did so. So how best can one really choose a course?
And I feel that is a very important question that you've raised. You appreciate that money is a byproduct of value, right? In order for you to earn money, I want you to understand that money is a byproduct of value. Meaning, you must be in a position where you are creating value, right? And from that value, money comes after. So, if you're going to choose a career to get into, it must not only be about the money, right? Because money is a product of value. So for me, my advice would be, you as a young person, before you choose a career path, does that resonate with who you are? Does that speak to who you want to be in the next 5 years? Because if journalism is what you chose for the money, and the very moment you do not get a job, what's going to happen to you, sir? You'll be depressed.
Yeah, true.
But if you're passionate about you being able to go out there and add value, and then the money comes after.
True. Okay. So what are some of common financial mistakes really do you think young people are making right now?
There's a double-edged sword that we currently have, and this is social media.
Okay.
For some of us, it's building us. For some of us, unfortunately, it's destroying our lives. There's so much peer pressure today because others look at what others are doing. And because when they look at what other people are doing, it makes them feel less of themselves. And the moment you start to feel less of yourself, some of us even end up spending money which we're not supposed to. You've heard of stories where a student receives school fees, but because they've got peer pressure, they take that school fee and take it towards something else that was not even supposed to be spent on. And because of that, so many young people are stressed financially. So one of the mistakes we have is that we are living above our means. That's number one. We're living above our means. Number two, you now get into debt. So we now start borrowing money in order for us to keep up with appearances, in order for us to look a particular way. But that is not the way it's supposed to be. You would rather be rich because you are rich than appear rich when you're actually not rich. Most of us do not have a budget as young people. When we receive money, we spend everything, right? But when you receive money, remember money is a scarce resource.
Yeah.
And because money is a scarce resource, the moment you receive it, you must come up with a plan. And that plan is known as a budget. Where's your money coming from and where's your money going? These are some of the challenges that we currently have. So far, you'd be amazed to know that through our Leadership Academy, we've trained over 2,500 young leaders across the last 11 cohorts that we have, right? And then we've had, the first summit had 200, second 3, 4, 7, 8, and the last one was almost 1,000 youths. And these youths were coming across the 10 provinces of Zambia. That is to show you that the work that we are doing is resonating with young people. They see the value that this organization is helping the young leaders realize about themselves, and that is the work that we've been doing.
Interesting. So what opportunities are available really for young people who wants to be involved? Okay,
so currently we have the Leadership Academy, where you can go through the holistic and practical training. It's a 6 weeks training, inexpensive, because we believe that everybody must be able to afford it. So much so you attest that any person who's done our leadership program, when you ask them, they will actually tell you that the material and the information they got was worth more what they actually paid.
How much they paid?
It's 350 kwacha for, and then that's your learning material, that's your graduation, that's your certificate, everything in that 350. But what that information does for you is that it changes your life forever, because it makes you realize how relevant you are and what you can actually be able to do. Beyond that, when you become affiliated with us and you are exceptional in what you do, whenever there's such an opportunity that speaks to media and communication, sir, we'll pick you, Mr. Chinufia. Why? Because you're affiliated to us, and you will then be able to represent and do what you are currently doing. So it's a network of problem solvers, then become solutions to the problems that we've been able to see, whether it's in our personal lives, in our communities, in our nation, continent, and world at large.
Interesting.
I did mention that the future is not something that happens to us. It is something we build. Young people should stop waiting for permission to make a difference. It's like somebody must come and tell you, do it, then you do it. You shouldn't wait for permission. You are not a limitation. Your preparation is what matters. Before the opportunities come, what are you doing in order for you to become relevant and remain relevant? So invest in your character, develop your skills, manage your finances wisely, and serve others with excellence. Why? At BeRelevant Afrika, we believe that young people are not just leaders of tomorrow, they are leaders of today. So the question is not whether you can lead, but whether you are preparing yourself to lead well, because in all our capacities, we are leading.